So you need a daily driver and you don't care about the gas prices, or you need this vehicle just for utility. Today we're looking at the 2022 Toyota Tacoma 4x4 Sport. What's going on, guys? Brian here again, and a few of you have asked for a 2022 Tacoma video. So we have this beautiful Sport access cab that just came in, and I wanted to give you a quick introduction to the truck, go over the exterior, the ride and drive, interior, and then actually I'll provide a separate tutorial video. So let's dive in. So Tacoma, the underdog, the small truck, the dominating force in the small truck market. It comes in a lot of different variants. You have the SR, SR5, TRD Off-Road, TRD Sport, Limited, TRD Pro, and a few other variants depending on where on the globe you live. Today, we're looking at a very cool truck because it comes in a new color for the Tacoma, Windchill Pearl. And not to be confused with the Blizzard Pearl that was very popular for the previous generation of Highlander. The Windchill Pearl actually gives you more of a stark white finish, but you're still getting the pearlescent effect. We're on the 7th year of this generation of Tacoma, which started in 2016, with a few updates along the way. But you know where I like to start? I like to start in the front. And the nicest part of this truck to me, as a Tacoma owner, are the LED headlights and fog lights. Like you saw in the beginning of the video, you have the sequential turn signal, which is actually a part of this LED wishbone. And for the nighttime driving to see the deer or just straight up visibility, you get this beautiful crystal white light no matter what light you're using. And keep in mind, I'm the owner of a 2021 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road, so I'm going to be as unbiased as possible, but I must say the Sport looks great in white because that non-functioning hood scoop on the top really pops against the white paint. And yeah, it is non-functioning. It's totally for looks. I don't recommend making it functional because you'd have to run some type of a filter or water drainage for it, but it looks sick. And I've heard stories of some of the off-road and SR5 guys actually adding this hood to their truck just for the looks. So based on styling, if you were comparing this to the off-road, all of these things that would be a non-painted black on the off-road edition, including the front here and the bumper corners, depending on what package you have, would actually be a flat black. They're all painted in that beautiful white pearl, and it really brings the whole picture together. Another great thing about the Tacoma is that you have these nice big mirrors, which really help you see what's going on around you, and they're super easy to fold. Moving on to the back of the truck, you have an Altezza style taillight, which is unique to the TRD. If you went with an SR5, this would be more of a red out plastic instead of the clear lens with the chrome here. I think it's very nice. When I first got my truck, I actually wanted to swap out for the Pros because you have more black going on here, but it's grown on me. I think it adds a little bit of a flash to the back end and it's unique. Of course, you have the decal here that says Sport. You can get different aftermarket variations. I'm not really into swapping out decals. That's fine for me. The red here is new for 2022. At least it is for the off-roads, where it used to be gray. A self-dampening tailgate with a fully composite bed. So it's not a metal bed with a plastic clip-on liner. This is a fully composite bed. Composite is great material. It can handle all the temperature changes. I like the cutouts here so you can make your own shelves. You have them in the back too. You can put some 2x4s. They come from the factory with the deck rail system, so when you put the cleats on there, you can customize where your anchors are. And you can even run some anchorage for accessories like fire extinguisher, emergency shovels, and whatnot. Also standard on the TRD trucks are your simple little house plug. You're not gonna run any high-powered tools, but that's nice for Christmas lights, maybe a low-powered blender, or even a little griddle. And right next to this, a little bit of storage. Water will get inside of here, by the way, so you definitely only want to put stuff in there that you're not afraid to get wet. I throw a microfiber towel that I check my oil with and a couple bungee cords. Backup cameras are standard on all the Toyotas now, which is great for when you have a truck because it takes the guesswork out of how close you are to what you're backing into. And with the tow package standard on the TRDs, you have the 7 and 4 pin connections. Let me show you what it looks like underneath. Full-size spare made of steel. It's not going to be the alloy spare, but it does match in size. Let me get to the side here so I can show you underneath. There's our leaf springs. We have not gone TNGA F yet, so you have leaf springs. The next generation of Tacoma, I guarantee you, with 95% confidence, will be TNGA F, which should take away the leaf springs, but this is your classic tried and true setup with the Tacoma that's been done for years. Before we go to the engine and powertrain, just a fun fact, whenever you get the access cab, which is your little flip open door, that this door has to be open to get open, they're all going to be long bed, but they have the same wheelbase as a 4-door short bed. So if you don't need the 4 doors for back passengers and you like the wheelbase of the short bed, you're getting that long bed utility. You still have the smaller wheelbase, which is great for off-roading or just overall parking and management. And it's a solid package for people who really don't need those back doors. Powering all of the V6 trucks is one V6. It's the 2GR FKS. It's direct and port injection, so it likes high revs. A Toyota technician, a master tech here at the store, actually told me it's good to get on it once in a while to keep it clear of carbon. Yeah, simple design here if you're not super familiar with mechanical parts. Battery is right here, easy to get to. If you didn't have the LED upgrade package and you had regular bulbs, the bulbs are very easy to get to back here. Checking my brake fluid is a cinch, so I just lean over and check the level there, and my brake system is very easy to access hundreds of thousands of miles later when it needs work. Lots of space for heat management. My hoses are very easy to get to and check, which I like to check stuff once a week and see what's going on. Adding oil if I have to or during the oil changes is very easy. It's right there. That's what they recommend. This is just my dust/noise cover. I like to put a little bit of peppermint oil and soapy water underneath so the rodents stay away. And the coolant system is easy to check. It's right over here. Working on the radiator, replacing it is super simple. You can slide that out like a Game Boy cartridge. And I can check my level there. My power steering reservoir is very easy to see. I can check my hot and cold levels. And a nice big, here's one of my favorites, huge jug for your washer fluid. This thing has got to be like a whole gallon, maybe even a little bit more. I haven't measured it, obviously, but you can spray your windshield daily for days and days and days, weeks. Almost every drive up here in New York, I have to do a little squirt before I drive because you got pollen, you got bird crap, you got everything up there, you got a little bug residue. Give it a squirt, and it wipes, and this lasts me for weeks. Thank you, Toyota. Super simple air intake right here. You can do the air box on your own, get the filter out. Just super simple access to everything, and that's part of Toyota's heritage, where they design things very simply so that they're easy to work on, and that just lowers your cost of ownership and makes this thing an ease to own. Okay, so diving into the truck. Access cab, how do you get inside? Well, where the B pillar is, if we look around, there's a little switch, one more of a lever that I pull on, and it opens right up. You have to close this flip open door first before you can close the big door. And now we have very, very large access to the entire cabin of the truck with flip up and down seats. Okay, so I want to put some toolboxes back here, materials, maybe a little dog bed with a blanket for the dog, and flipping them down is as simple as that. One piece all-weather mat in the back. Most of the trucks, not all, come with the all-weather mats. Little spot here for the seat belts. Cup holders for the back. It is a tight fit, so it's going to be more of a temporary fit for people unless you have kids or really small family members that are adults. And some twist lock storage to store some goodies back here. If you're also considering the 4-door, which we call double cab, you don't have anywhere to fold the seat down here, so there's not going to be that little cubby. So if you went with the 4-door, you could actually fold the cushion forward and fold this part down, and you have full access to cubbies in the back. But you're sacrificing that long bed unless you're willing to get the longest truck, the double cab long bed. On the door card, it's pretty much hard plastics all around with a little bit of a soft material here, not super cushy, nothing near the Avalon, and not even close to a Camry XLE. But your typical Tacoma owner doesn't really care about stuff like that. It's just got to be doable. It's kind of like a basketball exterior, and it just has a slight bit of give. These plastics are going to scratch a little easier, but they're super durable. Auto down and up on 2 windows here. There's no power window in the back. This is a stationary window. If you get an upgrade package on the Tacoma, this 3rd window can be electronic, but from the base Sport, you just pull that little switch and you can do it like that. If you think you can do it safely, you can reach back while looking at the road, but in most cases you'll want to come to a stop. But we jumped in really fast. Here's what it looks like getting into your 2022 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport Access Cab. And you can tell right away that it's not an SR5 because you have the black upholstery, the upgraded seats in the front here with the black and gray design with this really cool futuristic. You can actually feel the pattern on this. I think it's cool. It's not a fluffy cloth. This is going to be very easy to brush or vacuum, so you get one of those rubber brushes for the dog hair. Leather wrapped steering wheel done by hand. That's the last thing they do on the Toyotas right before they leave the factory. These are great. Let me jump in this truck, start it up, and talk to you about how I feel about the interior as the owner of one of these trucks. Standard with the smart key. So you leave this in your pocket, your purse or your book bag, and you just press the brake and give that a quick tap. Here's the cockpit view. What's great about these base TRD Sports is that we're still under that 40 mark. If you're getting it purchased, if you're purchasing this without any dealer adjusted markup, which I don't understand why there would be right now. But here's where ours is, it's the MSRP. If you don't need that tech package and you don't need the premium with the leather, I mean, before taxes, you're under 40, which is great. And you're getting a lot for the money. It's a very utilitarian design, which I mention in every Tacoma video, until they change it. Big knobs, very tactile feel. I mean, even moving on to the door, the mirror knob is huge. And you have this checkered thing. I mean, you can't miss that. You could change that with gloves on, and that's the whole idea. Big square and diamond and triangle buttons that are easy to use even if you have work gloves on, easy to see, no weird technical symbols. I mean, it's pretty simple to see what's going on here. All laid out in rows like a tank. And there's the dead giveaway that it's a 4x4 because you have your simple twist for the 4 high, which you can do while moving. And then to go to 4 low, you come to a stop, put it in neutral, and then it's a push and turn to get that in there. But I'm going to twist that back to 2-wheel drive. Defrosting mirrors on all the trucks. The dual zone climate is great because you can have your driver and passenger have their own temperature. I know what some of you truck guys are going to say, oh, it's just another thing to break. And that's true. But if you're going to trust anybody to do something complicated, don't you want to trust one of the most reliable brands in the world? That's my opinion. I'm willing to have a couple creature comforts and risk it being pricey when I have 200K if it starts to act up. That's just me. I'm willing to risk that. I love being able to have 2 different temps, which is nice. Standard on all Tacomas now, you have the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so all you have to do is plug it into the USB plug. It's not wireless, unless you have a Tundra. I do suspect once we go to TNGA-F, you will get the wireless CarPlay, but not now. Not a big deal. You just plug that in, and you'll be able to project your phone's screen onto the screen here. Great reverse camera, very legible. This is all touchscreen. Some people upgrade these with bigger knobs. I really don't care about that. I think that's easy to use. And 4 big vents on the top, which is great because you can twist them anywhere, turn them, close them, lock them. So not only do you have 2 different temps, you can kind of customize exactly how much airflow you want. And say you turn it up on high and you still need a boost. If there's nobody in the passenger seat, you can close these and the air coming out of here gets even faster and stronger, which is nice as well. And for the cluster, we have a simple reader that's going to light up a nice light blue at nighttime and a center screen called the MID. Not a whole lot going on here until you get a couple upgrade packages, but you can access some information about your drive and your fuel economy. Don't judge it by this. It's a brand new truck with no miles on it that goes around the parking lot. And you can change some of the settings to your safety sense systems. Most people just leave it right here. But yeah, super simple, easy reader. You can just glance at it real quick, see what's going on, and you're done. Nothing fancy, no huge 9-inch LED tablet like they're doing on a lot of the new vehicles. And that's a calling to Toyota's old school way with the trucks. And I gotta say, with the feedback from a lot of my truck community, most of my truck guys and gals are not really concerned with a huge tablet here. In fact, I would go as far as to say as most of them are not really even going to want that, because they see that as another complicated thing to break. As cool as it is on the RAV4 Prime and the Corolla Hatchback XSC and all the other cars that have it, those big LED screens, down the line, if they start to get wonky and act up, well, you're going to have to deal with it, especially if you didn't purchase an extra warranty and your warranty is up. This thing's a whole nother story, but you don't have a choice with this. It is integrated into the dash, which is nice. They're not doing that flip-up design like you see on a lot of the new Toyotas. Depends on what you like and what your style is, but you're still getting that typical third-generation Toyota design. No more orange here like they did for a while, which is nice. It's more of a dark gray. This is not a soft material like you get in some of the cars. This is a hard material, and it is going to scratch up very easily, but it's durable. So you got to realize this is a utility. It's a tool. Toyota's not going super luxury. I know your high-end Rams and your high-end GMCs, they give you the plush, they give you the fluffy, they give you the cushy. That's not what Tacoma's going for. Tacoma's the underdog. It's a tool. Huge glove box. No, there's not an LED light, but you can get aftermarket shelving. You can pop in whatever you need in there. You can fit a bunch in there and you can lock it up. Simple. But speaking of cushy, my armrest in the middle does have a little bit more give than the door, which is comfortable for me. I've taken my personal Tacoma on a 10-hour trip, and I was fine. Pretty good storage down here with my arm in. It's about halfway up to the elbow with some light-up USB plugs, 1B and 1C. And if you know me, I used to not be a fan of the C, but now that I know a little bit more about it, it charges faster, which is kind of nice. So the stubborn old ways are starting to be phased out, and I suspect when we go TNG-F, you're going to see only USB-C in there. But I could be wrong. It is Toyota. Inside I have a pen clip. No button for the transmission, which I love. I don't like when there's vehicles with a button for the transmission. Super simple shifter, and you can control the gears like this. It has 6 speeds. If you need to do a little bit of transmission riding, if you need to keep the RPMs the same and you want to ride in one gear and engine brake, you can do that. It does have a cool feature where if you're going down a hill and if you brake at the right angle, it'll actually downshift for you to help maintain your speed, which I think is great. I think that's enough about the interior. Let's get this truck going down the road and talk about the way it drives. So the first thing you'll notice if you're in a Sport is that you have that hump in the front for the hood scoop. Some people claim that during certain lighting the sun can bounce back and shoot that into the cabin. I don't know how often that happens because I don't spend a lot of time in a Sport. I have an off-road. But obviously that can happen if people are talking about it. So what they have online as an option is a flat black overlay that you can put on the hood scoop. So depending on what time of the day you drive, you can put that on there to reduce the glare. To me though, on the times I've driven a Sport, I haven't experienced that at all. The transmission is designed and programmed to not downshift right away, and some people have a gripe with that because they feel like they give the throttle a little more than they should in order for it to downshift. And I get where they're coming from, especially if you're coming from a 4Runner that only has 5 speeds and it doesn't have all of that software telling it what to do. What Toyota was trying to do was make the truck more efficient by keeping it in the higher gear longer. I want you to be reminded of the artificial intelligence that does change how that shifts over time. But I will admit, the 3rd generation Tacoma is a little bit shifty, and it takes time for it to learn the way you drive, and that smoothens out over time. It is an acquired taste, and it is a pickup truck. It's not going to drive the same way as a V8 Tundra, because it's not. This is just the nature of the Tacoma. And at least it's nice that you have that artificial intelligence working for you to slowly smooth out that shifty kind of vibe that the transmission's giving you. If it was horrible, you would not see Tacomas on the road. To me, it's fine. Moving past that, the visibility is good. This can be a little bit of a blind spot at slow speeds making sharp turns, so you will have to move your head and look in there. Not a big deal to me. I do suspect possibly that when this truck is eventually TNGA-F, that they will put a glass window here, but I could be wrong. The V6 has plenty of power. It's not a race truck, but it does not struggle at all to go up hills like the 4-cylinder does. Yes, I know you can save a lot of money with the 4-cylinder, and the 4-cylinders are great, but if you want to tow and you're towing somewhere up to 6,000 pounds or slightly more, you got to get that V6. But it looks like a truck and it drives like a truck. It's not as bumpy as some of the more base American branded trucks. It's smooth. It actually does handle the bumps really good. I find that the TRD Sport handles the bumps a little bit better because it has that soft Bilstein suspension that's made for craters and rocks and gravel and all that stuff. The Sport's going to be a little bit more of the highway warrior. So say you're commuting to a job, or you're commuting to different jobs where you're using the bed and you're taking the highway a lot. The Sport's going to give you a little bit more of a connected to the road feel. But if you hit a massive pothole in the off-road, it's going to handle it a little more to the cheek. You know, it's going to take it to the cheek a little bit more. No, it's not night and day, but if you drive both these trucks, you can kind of feel the difference, and it's made to be that way. I think you could take a Sport 4x4 off-roading, no problem. It doesn't have the locking differential, so it doesn't have the rear lockers. Most of the time, people, nice Tundra. Oh, you got the off-road gear and everything. Most people don't need the rear locker anyway unless you're doing extreme stuff, so that's another topic for another day. But yes, you can get out on the trails, you can do some mild rock crawling, and there's no problem getting a Sport into the woods at all. This is a very bumpy road and it handles it nicely, and that's with an empty bed. Not a whole ton of bed hop, but I would suspect that with the bed loaded up with a few hundred pounds of material or items for a trip, it'll smoothen out the little bit of bed hop that you have when you hit the bumps. Not a ton of steering wheel play, but it is a truck and has a little bit like most pickup trucks do. That's how you get cut off. And speaking of being cut off, the brakes work great. The brake booster kicks in right away. You can feel when that brake booster kicks in a little more brakes. For gas mileage, it's rated for 18 to 22. I'm a Tacoma owner. When I'm driving it normal and getting on it a little bit once in a while, I'm getting high teens, but I've been going easy on it lately, and I've squeezed out 24 to 25 miles a gallon in this truck, keeping it under 65. I try to go around 60, and if you're easy on the throttle, you can squeeze out low to mid-20s in this truck. You're going to work for it, and you got to drive efficient, but it can do it. But remember, it's a tool. So if you're daily driving this, you got to realize it is a tool. It's not made for optimal efficiency. But the Tacoma was made for people that just want to drive a truck as well. Like say you need the bed for things, say you're into kayaking, you want to pull a boat once in a while like a small boat, you want to do the camping trips, you want to load it up with materials and do renovations, but you daily drive it, that's what this is for. So I hope that gets, it gives you a good view of what it's like to drive this truck. I hope my unbiased opinion helped. I tried to keep it as well-rounded as possible. Let's park the truck and cap the video. So there you have it. We looked at the exterior of the 2022 Tacoma Sport. We talked about the way it drives. Then we got inside and went over the interior. I hope this video helped you, so let me down below if it did. Let me know what else you'd like to see or if I missed something. This is one of those trucks that you don't have to get super technical with, but you can. If you're not super familiar with trucks, it's a great entry. It's a great entrance into the truck world and the truck market, and the best thing about it is it's super reliable and it'll never let you down. So with that said, make sure to like this video if it helped you. Check out my next video coming up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.